Hello and welcome to another episode of Grange TV. We have with us TAFE extraordinaire, Mr. Eli Hedges, Robert Whittaker, and James Te Huna, MMA pioneer from both New Zealand and Australia. Welcome, James, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
I don't know. I guess Rob and I were talking about this just before we were eating. What's the transition like been for you from fighting to not fighting anymore?
That was pretty hard, man. A lot of athletes have that problem, transitioning from, pretty much, especially if you had a long career in your sports. I've got a few other friends that have, finished up in the NRL and, they've had a long career in sport, gone straight from, high school straight into professional sports. And then spending like 15 years in that professional sport and then finishing up in their mid-30s and thinking, fuck, what's going to happen now,
Yeah.
So you've got to use your next few years trying to find out what your path is and, move on from there.
I think it's something people take for granted a lot. Like I look at, because I always think of this, like just always working in like this corporate kind of environment and just dealing with like just the shit you have to deal with people, like, office politics and all that shit. And I think it would be hard as well, like even for a young guy. Like I know you worked in that during your career, but I think for a young guy that would have just finished high school, never dealt with the workplace, never had to do anything, gone straight into being a professional athlete and then dealing with that for a prolonged period of time and then trying to come out into the workforce. That's different. That's really, really different. Another thing we were saying was, what about your... Because I noticed it too, like when Rob and I were both saying, like it was like almost like a switch turned off because I've known you for a long time and like you're always very nice, very polite, but I could always feel like you were kind of like on edge during your fight career. And I don't know if you knew this, you might be turning around and go, what the fuck? No, not me. But then like the change in your personality was pretty big. Did you notice that or have other people ever spoken to you about it?
Oh, yeah. Definitely
Everyone's coming out of the woodwork now calling you out on it.
Just a release of pressure. Just learnt to open up myself a bit more about things that have happened in the past and the reasons why I got into martial arts and this and that. Just being able to talk and share and open up more about certain things that have happened along your journey.
How when you say the release of the pressure, what are we talking about? Sorry, one thing I remember this. It was funny. I was talking to Ty about it, talking to Rob about it. I remember it was one time we were talking. I think it was at your brother's gym, and I hadn't really ever spoken to you too much about it, but somebody had been trolling you, and I remember you took it like real. Fucking and I didn't want to say like fucking just it's all right, James, but did you ever find that guy? Because you were talking about finding him.
Oh man, there's been I don't know who you're talking about, but there has been a few, and I guess man, that shit like that really got to me at that time.
How much, James? Like the trolls, because I read them about like Rob and that the trolls. Like we had Bam Bam on the show the other day, and like they both fought, they both won. And then somebody put, and fair enough, good. At least they listened to the podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he wrote, as if you'd have two guys that just lost their last fight, and I think like even if they lost, they'd still be on the show. Who gives a fuck if they lost or not? But they didn't.
Can you remind me after this just to tell you about the last trolling story I had last night that almost made me cry? It's the worst. But no, continue.
So yeah.
Oh, there's some bad ones out there, eh? I mean, you'll get certain ones, but then another one that will, go towards your family or something. I've had those ones.
People talk about your family.
Oh, yeah.
Oh well, fuck them then. If you caught up with them.
Yeah. You should see some people like when I have photos of Sophia or whatnot, or there's articles of me and Sophia in it. They just start hammering her, and like I know what this are. If you're trolling me on a thing. On a post or on a forum, I'm not too fussed about it. Like it's easy to deal with people being aggressive towards me. I'm used to that. Like I can breathe that stuff in. So, but it's the obscure ones that get me the worst. Like the other day, yesterday, I was going through some guy messaged me. And it wasn't an accepted message. It was like a private message. Pressed me and he goes, hey man, I don't care who you are, but stop bullying X, Y, and Z. I'm sick of this. She's just a small girl. How dare you? I don't care if you're champion of the universe. I'll put a bullet in your head. I was like, I'm not bullying anyone. What are you talking about? Like, and that hit me so hard because I went straight to Sophie and I was like, babe, I have to accept this and tell this guy I'm not doing it. It's not me. Someone's setting me up. And Sophia's like, no, he's just obviously trying to get your attention. And I was like, who would do this? Who would go in such a roundabout way to get attention from someone?
With you, James, did it affect you more? Because wait, sorry, one other thing. Sorry, I've cut you off about 8 times in this thing. I'm usually not like this. Don't judge me in this alone. But I think for us, it's a little different as well because we still remember there not being as much social media, I think.
Yeah.
Like our age group kind of thing. And then our age group was funny because it went from no social media
to smack bang
to fucking heaps of it.
Yep.
And I remember that conversation because... And I didn't even think like... fuck, James, get over it. I thought more like, I'm glad it's not me. Because you were like legitimately angry about it. Like,
yeah, I would have been. I guess, as you're talking about before, going straight from no social media into Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. At that time, man, we didn't have, I guess, too much information on how to deal with these situations. I guess, you know what I mean? But now, like, next generation coming through, they have a little bit more info on how to,
it's funny because the whole thing is like the accessibility. Like, say when you're in high school, like for us, like if you liked a girl and you had a photo of a girl, like that was already like thing. But now you can just go. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a big thing because you'd have to take the photo and take it to the fucking thing. But now, like you just have millions of photos of people up on Facebook. But the way that people deal with stuff is totally different. Do you know what I mean? Like there's accessibility, but people know how to deal with that accessibility, I suppose.
Yeah.
You touched on how you got into martial arts.
Just a number of reasons. So I guess, I had my role models and people that really inspired me. And they're growing up through the 80s, early 80s, early 90s, Mike Tyson and David Tour, heavyweight boxer. But, I was a shy, quiet kid, emotionally impaired.
You said emotionally impaired?
Yep.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, so had a bit of shit that was going on when I grew up. So my father, when he was 12 years old, he was around when his father murdered his mum and then suicided. So
your paternal grandfather.
Yeah. So my dad experienced that when he's 12 years old. His mum that he loved so much, his father murdered the mum and then he took himself out. My dad was 12 years old, traumatized, heavily traumatized. For the next few years, he was passed on a family, but he was unwell. He needed help. He was, needed a lot of support. Next few years, he bounced around from town to town and went on his own. And a few years later, he met my mum.
So he would have been what, 17, 18?
Yeah, 16, 17. Yep. Met my mum. And that's when me and my older brother came about. The miracles happened. And as we were growing up, there was...
So your parents had you guys relatively young.
Yeah.
And on a timeline of this would have been like not even 10 years after the death of his parents.
Yep. So as we were growing up, my dad was heavily traumatized and he needed help. He did get medical care, but in those days too, and still it's probably happening now, people being misdiagnosed and this and that, and every month or two he'll have an episode, and these episodes were quite big. Outside of those episodes, man, he was the best dad you could have, man. I had heaps of fun times growing up, tons of fun times, and then a lot of pain and suffering as well. But those times that he would have those episodes, that's heavily imprinted in my mind, and that's scarred me for life. It's something that I have to always find ways to manage. Yeah.
And martial arts was an outlet for that?
So martial arts was definitely an outlet. I learned from an early age what physical and emotional pain felt like, and it just felt that I had these chains around me, throughout my primary school years, throughout the high school years, being hurt, being timid, just scared little kid, man. Had a lot of fear, tons of fear, and then times when Wild Man would have those episodes, and I quickly found out that having fear against something is something that you have to really, really try and find ways to be able to cope with it, and I found a way to cope with it. I found a way to cope with fear. I found a way to cope with pain, suffering, and discomfort. And that method helped me, I guess, it would have helped me handle the pain and suffering a little bit more better, manage it.
Your brother Tama who's also been a pioneer in martial arts in Australia and whatnot. I've known you both for a long time. His personality is quite different to yours. Would you say he's the more outgoing?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so he's
How did he handle that? Because he was older than you.
Yeah,
he's older than you.
Yep, he was older. So he was being the older brother, he's always got to look after his younger brother and his mum. So whenever those episodes went down, he was the first one to get it, because he's his older brother. But he was the first one to go get help, which is what everyone needs to do when they're in that situation, run and get help. So while he was away getting help, there's certain things that I went through too that I don't think that he knew about as well. Yeah.
And how old were you when you started martial arts?
I would have been, say, 12, 13 years old, and moved to we settled in another town. There was a boxing gym there, so we signed up down there and started training and started getting amongst it. One of my guides to move into martial arts was my grandfather on my mum's side. So my grandfather would see every year, would spend school holidays with, and he was someone that I really looked up to. He was a World War II vet, and one of the many stories that he has, he was a boxing champion on a big, large ship carrier carrying like 2,000 soldiers over to Italy. And he was a boxing champ on that.
On a ship?
On a ship, yeah.
That's a good effort.
Yeah. So, he definitely inspired me to move into martial arts, and he was someone that I wanted to become as well. And, started off my martial arts career, boxing career.
So, did you have fights straight away? Did you fight straight away?
No, so I started training. It was quite hard, but I was used to it, I was used to that pain, used to that discomfort, and it didn't really discourage me at the time, because I've been through it for so many years earlier on. So it just I stuck at it until I got better. I trained every day, I got better. I had my first fight, lost. Didn't really hurt me as much, because I thought I jumped in there. I may have taken a loss, but I've learned something that day. It was I would have got myself better, and next day the next day is another day, and I'll get better again. And just stuck at it, man. I started seeing myself grow as every day went by.
What's the relationship do you feel with your martial arts and like the ability for emotional expression for you moving forward?
It was able to martial arts was definitely able to let me or help me with my management, with my emotions, being able to deal with those negative emotions, which is important. I mean, negative emotions are important, but you need to learn how to manage those emotions too. So it played a big part, man. played a big part along my journey.
Did you have like anger issues as a kid growing up?
Yeah, I had a temper on me. Shy, quiet kid, and didn't speak out or anything, or didn't open up about my feelings or this and that. So I held a lot in. I bottled up a lot, and they did come out every now and then. And martial arts was definitely an outlet for that.
And your brother, was he more aggressive than you? Was he more like what? Like so there was James at home, or James in that thing. Then there was James at school and dealing with stuff. And
yeah,
you're saying you're a quiet, more timid kid. Was your brother being more of an outgoing person?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna guess this. Was he like, just even looking at him, so would he have played like on the football team? Would he have been the more popular of the two of you guys?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. He is.
Look at this. There should be a category like that on Jeopardy.
He was a lot more open, He was a.
Was he like the captain of the football team kind of cat, like that kind of?
Oh, like he's definitely a leader,
Yeah. That's how I picture him.
Yep.
In school,
it was a leader, He was someone that took charge. He opened up a lot. He didn't hold nothing back, And he was a talent as well, He didn't have too many thoughts on his mind, in which I did. Yeah.
Do you get any questions, Eli, or anything? Go, please.
So, would you say that you going into your fights, it was an emotional outlet for you? Like, do you think you were an emotional fighter, or?
In the no, I guess in the beginning I wasn't. In the beginning, I didn't use my emotions or anything. I was just man. I had my goals. I knew how to manage my emotions, keep them at bay. Towards the end, though, like certain things that really get to me, and my emotions started coming back into play in the last 5 years of my career. And then I started forgetting how I used to manage those emotions.
It's hard, yeah. I can imagine, because a lot of people don't realise this, but what happens outside of the octagon affects you inside the octagon, and vice versa. So I can see how something like that would happen. I think it's something that a lot of fighters, and you're voicing it now, but I think it's something a lot of fighters don't really understand, is how they are as a fighter, like whether they're emotional and how their emotions play a toll inside the octagon. It's like kind of finding out who you are in a raw sense in there.
Yeah.
What tools did you use to manage your emotion and whatnot?
At the beginning?
Yeah, look, and how did you get access to understanding how to use those tools?
Oh man, I think it was at a very early age, man. Like, especially with pain, Like, you come into pain, you come in with fear, you resist. It ain't gonna go nowhere. It's gonna hang around for a long time, What happens if you don't resist?
Pain?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Yeah, like if you don't resist pain, if you find yourself at peace with pain, if you find yourself in the present moment, you're being, you accept what is, let your guard down, you're able to make progress from there. So that was something that I learned from an early age, was to being able to let go.
So do you mean let go? I'm looking something up because I just had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a psychologist before this. Not because I thought James neat. No, but it was funny that you say exactly that, because they sent me a model of behaviour stuff, and it's what you're saying. But please go on.
Yeah, so I guess having that fear, man, a fear of pain too, was for me it was being able to let go and just accept what is. And then I was able to.
But how did you knew that viscerally? How did you process that intellectually? Did you see someone to speak to at all ever?
No, I just tried it. You know what it was? It was like off a particular episode where, I was being hurt, and just I thought to myself, okay, this is going to go on for a little bit more. What if I just do exactly that, accept what is, and see what happens? And then all of a sudden, it didn't really affect me as much, and I just thought, okay, well, I don't have as much fear as what I used to, I'll just try and practice that or use that method for anything else that's going to happen that I'm going to run into in my life, and that helped me with the pain and discomfort of and the unknown of getting into martial arts too, that a lot of people are afraid of. Yeah.
One of the things that the model that my friend sent me was the mindful compassion model, and it's like 3 steps. And the first one is being, I accept this situation. So being that whatever the situation is that you're in, and it doesn't have to be physically violent, it can just be like, fuck, you're arguing with a dickhead at work, I accept myself in the situation. So, it's exactly what you're saying. And then I trust I can navigate it. And I think what you're saying, like, that's why when you said that, I thought that's like pretty high order thinking, because like I think a lot of people get to that, but they get to it like maybe later in life. And I think, well, your thing's probably you had to either get it or you weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
So you're able to take those tools into normal day-to-day life? Is that?
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm back on, and I'm back on a horse with it. I'm practicing it now. It's something that I went through 2 months ago with my puhoro, my tāmoko, my tattoo. It's it just made me think, man. The first couple of days of the process, it's a full-on process that can take months.
Is it similar to the Samoan tattoo?
Yes, yeah. It can take months to complete, but I pump mine out in 5 days, back-to-back, straight days. It was pretty much, have breakfast, have your food, get on the table, end of the day, jump off the table, rest, and then back on the next day. But for the first couple of days, man, it was pain, man, hearing that gun, hearing that needle, buzz, bzzz, and I'm like, wow.
Constantly. Were you getting like the sweats and the...
Oh, I was getting everything, man. The words, man.
Pale.
Like, yeah, for the first couple of days, I was jumping off the table, and my body was in shock. It's full on. And then the artist and the 2 helpers are like, "You right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll be right." Oh, just jump in a hot shower, just make sure you get some, warmth into you. Try and settle your body down. I was like, okay. And then during that process, man, I had to do something. I had to change something up, and just went back to my old ways and just let my guard down, man. Let my guard down. Welcomed it in. Accepted what is, and got rightfully what was mine.
How much, like, everything's tattooed the same as like in the Samoan tat?
I think so. I'm not too sure about the Samoan power. Yeah.
Fucking hell. You said something also about the last 5 years. You said in the last 5 years of your career, that's when shit started coming back. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's just little things that'll get to me that I'd normally be able to manage it or block out or just carry on. It was I don't know. I think because everyone's got their tight team around them. And suffered a loss and suffered a bit of a setback, and then I guess I didn't like I know at the time I didn't like to see my friends and family hurt, and I could read that they were hurt off my sufferings, and I was like, fuck, and and kind of held on to that too, and just let a lot of expectations through get the better of me as well, and kind of it was a little bit harder for me, man. I just started taking on board a lot of stuff I wouldn't normally take, and it really got to me. These little hurdles, these little things that normally get over it pretty quickly and solve.
So, sorry.
No, please.
So we do you think you were adding a lot of pressures that were not there, but to yourself?
Yeah.
Like you were obviously you're seeing your family and your friends. So because I've lost before, like as well, you don't want to go through that, and you don't like the way they look at you.
Yeah.
You're just kind of adding that onto your own with the pressures that are already there.
Yeah.
And so Are you saying like in the last 5 years of your career, they were just building on top of one another?
Yeah.
And I guess you could say like you were your own worst enemy.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly right, man. At the end of it, man, my headspace was pretty full.
Yeah, can't.
But for what it's worth, like your career was pretty cool, man. Like you had some good wins, some tough fights, losses, whatever. But you had a good career.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like the biggest achievement for me was knocking down those fears from when I was a kid. You know, yeah, had a lot, man. Had a lot of limitations, and martial arts freed me from a lot of that.
Because you were a pioneer for the sport, for people like me. You know what I mean? Like growing up, I was watching you do your thing, and you fighting these big dogs from Australia and from New Zealand. Like from here, you know, taking on the world on the world stage, and you know that was super inspiring for young fellas like me coming up.
No, man, you know, like I guess you know the older generation too always. You know, paving the way for the younger generation. Like me, I was following footsteps of you know Mark Hunt and a lot of Australian pioneers and New Zealand pioneers of martial arts, fighting, boxing. Yeah.
Ultimately, towards the end, James, you had quite a few. So since I've known you, you've had some killer injuries, but some of the other injuries you've had, like towards the end, that culminated in the end of your fighting career. Can we talk sort of like backwards through like some of the injuries that sort of what was the things that made it call it a day? Okay,
I had a lot of injuries through probably in the last 5 years of my career. The last fight that I had, I got knocked out. I got sent to hospital and they scared me up, and a couple of doctors came out and go, all right, what we found is you might have a bleed on your brain. And you've got a whole bunch of lesions, so you need to get a bit of a checkup from your neurologist. So then I followed that up and seen the neuro dude, and he told me, you know, he goes, there is a sign of there may be a sign of a bleed on your brain, but there's no evidence right now that will suggest that. But what you do have is a bunch of lesions, and lesions are like little, they could be like similar to like a graze on your knee. But lesions can either can affect you or they don't, you know. And they increase with age as well. So I think for me, just, you know, hearing that news and just thinking, okay, well, I've got to think about my next steps. Am I going to be... I've got to really, really think about my health, because before something physically that hurt me was, you know, I would get a fix and get over it and jump on back on path and have another fight. But this one here was something I then knew that I couldn't really mess with, so I had to choose my next steps wisely, and I called it a day. I mean, I've done a lot. I spent a long time in the fighting world and achieved a lot. And I thought, okay, I was in a happier place at the time, and I accepted what is, and I spent the next few months trying to work out or trying to transition out of fighting into to my next career, next path.
So let me get, you're 34 years old, and they tell you, James, you have lesions in your brain. What's that feeling like? What's your reaction? What's your initial go-to?
Oh man, I've done my own research, you know. Looked it up, and just the same weekend there was a boxer over in England who lost by TKO, walked out of the ring, and then that night he fell into a coma for a couple of weeks, and I thought, fuck, is that going to be me? I didn't even know what to think, and then all these thoughts came in my head, and I was like, oh man, I don't know what's around the corner. Side effects from that knockout loss was pretty bad too. I've had some knockouts in the past, but this one I was kind of repeating myself every hour. I would forget what I was saying. I'll be in the middle of a conversation, I'll talk about something, then I'll stop and pause and realise, fuck, what was I talking about? That was happening quite often. It took about a month to get over that. And I knew I was quite aware of where I was at and what I needed to do. So I've done my own research, man, and just look for ways to bet on myself and get myself healthy.
So you were missing moments in time from that headshot.
Yeah.
We were ringside for that fight.
Yeah, we were.
There was and so for about a month after so say for example you might be talking here with us.
Yeah.
And then you would either repeat what you just said or you just totally forget what you were doing or why you were here.
Yeah, so I'll be talking about a story and then I'll stop and then halfway through it I'll think, fuck. I'll just start getting embarrassed because I just didn't realise what I was talking about.
Fuck.
And it was fucking so embarrassing, man. I was
Fucking
bummed out,
scary
man.
more than
Yeah,
embarrassing.
and it was happening a lot. That was in that month. That was the worst side effects I've had for my concussion. Yep.
So that's like, so moving backwards, you had that injury, you and you called it a day, and you've had a whole bunch of other injuries leading through you. Not an injury, but correct me if I'm wrong, right? Correct me if I'm wrong with this. I saw you in Bondi once, right? Blake trained with you, then we left. We walked out of the gym together, and not long after that, correct me if I'm wrong, a plate glass window almost fell on you in Bondi, and I'm glad I wasn't there. Is that right?
Yeah, man. I drove out to Eagle's gym, wrestling gym. It's in Bondi. It's in amongst the all the shops and stuff. So I parked my car at the mall, and come up through the mall, then walked outside the mall towards the gym. And there's a 20-foot glass shop panel. It's pretty thick, man.
Like an inch thick.
Yeah, it's popped out from its frame, and then pretty much dropped on top of my head.
It dropped on your head.
Yeah, it fell on my head. But it's like
I thought it missed you.
Yeah.
No.
How did it not kill you?
It got me. But it's
What the fuck?
shop window.
It landed on your head.
Yeah.
How are you alive?
A 20-foot, inch-thick piece of glass
Yeah.
hit you on your head,
Yeah.
and it didn't cut you?
Was it
At,
from height?
No, it wasn't from height. So it was from the footpath, right?
Yeah,
So
as you're walking
20 foot.
past.
Yeah. So it's a
6 meters.
and then 20-foot glass
Yeah.
shop panel, the real big tall ones, just popped
Is it-
down. Then
Did it shatter on your head?
it
Or did
came
it
down
just hit
to
you and just crush you?
no. It come down on me. Boom. And the only effects I got from it, it rocked me hard. I went down to one knee. And
Just
I
on
just
knee.
kind of, there goes another concussion. I looked up. I freaked out. I didn't know what happened. I looked up and I'm kind of dazed and confused. And there's a bus stop right there. It's 4:00 in the afternoon. There's
So it kind of put you out,
yeah, man.
but it
was
didn't
like
break.
You know, it broke. It broke on top of me and shattered and
It
everything
didn't
else.
cut you?
I got cuts. had safety glass in the back of my neck. I got taken to hospital afterwards. Had it plucked out. It was funny thing was it was 4:00 in the afternoon. These people, finishing up from work and just walking around, and they're like, "Are you alright?" And I was like, the first response I gave was, "It wasn't me. I don't know what happened, but it wasn't me."
Who's responsible for something like that?
So it was the shopping centre. Yeah.
Oh my good God.
But
Do you now own that shopping centre?
Yeah,
hey,
you own that shopping centre
we
now?
worked it out. But yeah, man, it was like a freak accident. It's I was just walking past the shop window, the shop front, and there's an old lady, an elderly woman, and her must have been granddaughter walking in front of me, and people walking behind me, and it was like a couple of meters space in between me and the next group of people. And it just come out on top of me. So there was witnesses everywhere. There was people inside the shop, and they're like, couldn't believe what just happened. It was just my luck, one of those things.
It's one of those things that's like, thank God it was you.
Yeah, well, if it happened a little bit
Heaven
earlier,
forbid
hit that.
someone like Fab was walking under the window, he wouldn't be here right now.
I'd be dead. Are both your parents Islander?
No. So my father's Maori, and my mother's New Zealand white.
So
Caucasian.
the head, your dad saved you with that, for sure. Fucking hell,
man.
How did that? How? I still
did it
can't
pop out?
believe. How the fuck did you not die? That's what I like. It just hit you like and shattered, because I was telling this story just before I came here to someone about that. I was like, I'm going to ask him, because I think it was like a week or two before that I'd walked out with you and I would be dead. And I was thinking like, I don't think it broke on him though. That's what I was saying, to him. But no, it broke on you. It hit you. I thought it almost hit you.
Yeah, no, it got me, man. It got me. I've got little scars on the back of my bligging neck. But yeah, got taken to St. Vincent's Hospital straight after. They police came in and the ambulance, and they taped off the whole road, the whole street. And
Like
it was
a murder
scene.
scene.
It was all over 7 News at 6 o'clock.
The only thing at time I've seen that before was in like the movies like Final Destination.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, this is
They still haven't been able
ridiculous.
to kill him.
I didn't think things like that happened.
Oh yeah.
And another injury thing that I remember was you broke, I think it was an Eagle Prochraic fight, you broke your arm, right? Which we'll talk about that in a sec. We'll sort of come moving backwards, because you broke your arm, if this is, correct me if I'm wrong, then you had surgery on that arm, then you got an infection in that arm?
Yeah. I broke my arm, had a plate inserted, and then will be probably about 4 months after, when I thought it had healed, I started training jits, and then one of the boys just kind of like gently rolled on it, so I bumped it a little bit, and I thought nothing of it. Okay, so the next day,
Did it hurt, but?
oh yeah, a little bit. And then the next day, next morning, early hours in the morning, woke myself up, tremendous pain, felt like my arm was pulsating. Took myself in the hospital, and then spent the next 4 or 5 days in there. They had surgery to clean it out. Got an infection in there, so you found out later that you got all these bugs in your stomach. You know, good bugs, bad bugs, but they're all there to do something. These bad ones got out and went towards the foreign object in my body, which was that plate at the time, and then just had a good time in there.
So if your mate didn't roll on your arm, you wouldn't know that the infection was there.
No, well, that must have aggravated, or maybe that brought blood to the area that the plate was in.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but the bump had something to do with it. The next morning, woke me up.
Yeah, it
and
could have
was just-
aggravated it, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What the Eagle Prochraic fight? That was a crazy fight. I think was that correct me if I'm wrong. You're the first Australian or New Zealander to win a fight in Australia. Is that correct? Would that? I think that might be the stat.
Yeah, I think
Because
so.
I think Elvis was the first Australian to win a UFC fight when he beat Jeremy Horn.
Yeah.
But I think you were the first Australian to win in Australia.
Yeah. Their first card in 2010. It was the very first fight in the undercard. Yeah, man, had myself mentally prepared for that fight. I thought no one would be there, eh? First fight in the undercard, man. You know, started like 9 or 10 in the morning. Thought no one's going to be there. It was going to be like probably
Your mum and a couple of friends.
Yeah. Like, not even a quarter full. Walked out there, man. Every seat was full, man. Everyone had their bums in their seats, cheering me on. I was like, oh no.
Does that affect you?
But oh yeah, it did at the time. Just these lights and just a new environment. First time in the UFC, and I pictured something else. I pictured the crowd being empty, and everything else. But walked in there, and next minute I'll come back to my senses. I woke up. I'm on my hands and knees, and Eagle Prochraic on top of me, punching me from the side, and just realised
because he dropped you with that right hand right at the start.
Yeah, he got me. Well, all right, better start fighting now. Yeah.
And sorry, please.
What year was this? 2010.
2010. Yeah.
This is in Sydney, right?
Yeah.
That funny fact. That was the first fight, UFC fight, MMA fight I had ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend, Anthony Cairns, shout out, that was working the lightings and the screens at the stadium, and his company had a box, and he gave me some tickets for me and my dad to go there, and that was the first event I had ever been to, ever, and it was amazing. I remember your fight because as you're telling me, I remember watching it, and that was a gutsy fight. That was a crazy fight, and you're exactly right. The crowd was mental. It was packed out.
It was crazy for a first fight.
Yeah, like from the start to the end, like all the seats row, the stadium itself was amazing. It was absolutely lit, and that was crazy. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, we're having a conversation here.
yeah, it's I don't know, it's mind-boggling for me because that was the first event I've ever been to.
How old were you? You would have been 18? No, 20?
20, and that was like an unreal moment. Watching like the UFC, like the big lights, the big show, and watching you get in there and performing, and or just especially for your fight that fight that night was gutsy as, like, you know what I mean? It was a tough fight.
Now, you've got your arm broken in that fight. You blocked a kick and he snapped your arm, broke the ulnar.
Yeah. He, I remember.
That's horrible of him to do that.
It was the last round, it was the third round, you know, we're both tired, we're trying to give everything that we had to try and finish off each other. I had a hard time. I'd suffered a couple of concussions early on in their fights, but got saved by the bell. And then he came out third round and just had to turn it up, man. And we're both tired and standing in front of each other. And he's popped up a head kick, and I've seen it coming towards my head in the last minute and kind of put one arm up to block it. And the next minute, it's snapped, and realised it was, something's not good. Something's
Did you
broken.
know straight away it was broken?
Yep. I knew straight away something was broken, and had to do something about it really quick. I took him down, and he was so tired. He's trying to defend himself, and I held him down in a crucifix position and started like throwing punches.
You were hitting him with that hand?
Yeah. So it wasn't much in a punch. It was pretty much it wasn't a rock. It was a sponge. So I was hitting him with a sponge.
You're giving him a sponge bath.
Oh yeah, I was giving him a sponge, all right. And, I heard the ref say, to Igor, to the other guy, protect yourself, otherwise I'm going to stop it. So as soon as I heard that, I went to town on the sponge. And then he was too tired to defend himself. He was there, and I seen his eyes roll back at one stage, and they come back too, and he's bang, 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 bang. He wasn't doing nothing. And then he sponged him, man, sponged
him to death.
The ref stopped it and then pulled me off and declared me as a winner. And I won that fight with a sponge.
Mad, good.
People don't realise this, but like when you break an arm or a hand, it hurts. You know it's broken straight away. You know something's wrong because it just doesn't work properly. But you still throw it. But the problem is, like when I've broken my hand, it's useless. It's like this. It's like you can't do anything. And I'm picturing him because he had to break here. I'm picturing him. His whole arm would have been cracked.
Oh,
It would have been like this. You were still rolling his eyes back in. You were still half knocking him out with it.
He was rolling his eyes back because they're tired, I think. It was just from exhaustion.
Just fainting.
He was like a pop star too in Croatia.
I think so. He's a singer or something.
Yeah, he was a singer.
Oh, wow.
So
Man of many talents.
Good on him. Have you ever seen him or anything? Dealt with him?
No, I've seen him every now and then after the, through those UFC summit meetings that we all been through. Yeah.
How,
been in that circle.
Is he a guy that you've always been cordial with, like been good with after
man.
fights?
Yeah.
Do you ever harbour resentment towards people after you fought him?
Nah, man, it's always, I think, because we both know that we've been through hell before the fight, so we know that we share something together, get in that cage and then let it all out, and afterwards, man, it's just like a release of all that build up, and
Like
just
an honour amongst warriors.
yeah.
So have you, because you weren't a trash talker, but did you ever have people that would aggravate you before a fight? Did you ever have that sort of experience?
Nah, nothing that I can recall, nah.
So you went through your whole career without it?
Yeah, man. No, I was sweet, eh?
Just the
all
internet,
good.
just the internet trolls.
There may have been, I don't know. Maybe I didn't recognise it.
After that fight, I remember I was at fucking TAFE at Macquarie Fields TAFE because I was working there, and there was a guy, and he was like a I don't want to say where he worked because you might track him down, and he said to me, "Do you know the guy that fought in that?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." He's like, good on him. That I don't know. I said fucking something that you would just say like a normal person, and he proceeded to tell me how wrong you blocked that kick.
Oh yeah.
And I told him I was sure to pass it on, and then I had a very important call and I sort of walked off. So James, mate, bad blocking.
Yeah, I got that a lot. I still get that now, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, people are telling me what I should, you shouldn't do, and it was it was a last minute thing, just caught it, put one hand up, one hand,
fuck, dude,
one hand's one arm's better than arms.
I'm still mind blown here because I remember.
If you saw the guy's a fat tradie,
No.
that told me.
I'm still mind blown because I remember that fight. I remember that guy coming in and hitting you with that right and you dropping. And I thought you were dead. I was like, no. I was like, oh. But you got through it. You got back up. And it was like, and I was like, wow, that is gutsy. Because that was a clean hit. And you guys.
Right on the chin.
That's a light heavyweight. You guys are big. He was big. So people don't realize the shots hurt much more the bigger you are.
Yeah, man, he got me good, and as soon as I dropped to the ground, I woke back up. My eyes are straight, so I was able to compete again. Yeah. But yeah, as soon as your eyes are crossed, that's when you have trouble.
Oh, you just straight for the double. as soon as you get dropped, a straight single. I'm a wrestler, all American.
What's your hardest fights? What's been your hardest fights? To deal with pressure and whatnot. Not necessarily in the UFC, wherever, but what?
Oh, it would have been that fight in New Zealand, that first UFC fight in New Zealand for me.
I was going to say that.
Why is that?
It's always been a childhood dream of mine to, fight in front of your people and
they made a big deal about it.
Yeah. And it was just
it was
because you were there too.
I was around you at the time, so I could see.
Yeah.
But I was only an undercard or something there for that one, but. I was around you a lot that time, and I could see the way, the media and the promotion and everything, was putting on you. The amount of pressure and props they were putting on you for that. It was it was almost unfair, because there was so much being the first card in New Zealand and all that. It was just. Yeah, I can't imagine how hard it would have been to deal with that amount of pressure, to be honest.
Yeah, it was for me, man.
So it was more. Sorry, just to clarify, Rob, because you've been around, it was more than what you've generally seen for someone. Like, say, for example, when you've main evented, James had to suffer a lot more than that, or experience a lot more. In terms
definitely. I was in my last fight, I was a headline of the Chicago card. It was a big card as well, but. It still doesn't compare to the amount of publicity and promotion and hype that were. It wasn't about the card as a whole, as it was so much as just pumping James up for that fight, and it's just a lot of pressure to deal with.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a lot of things came on board with me that time, man. Just injuries and this and that, and little emotions and the pressures, and it was just hard to overcome, hard for me to overcome.
I remember as well as on top of all that pressure you were dealing with on that fight, which was more than usual. I'm going to say there was more than usual pressure, especially when it's your hometown, first card in your home country. Gee whiz!
And it's a small country too, so it's everyone's there too.
And the culture of the country is we're warriors, But not only that, but. You were real unlucky at the time. You were dealing with a lot of little niggly injuries, eh?
Yeah.
And you cut weight to 84 kilos.
84.
Yeah.
84.9. That would have been fun to watch. Because if you're just sitting here like this and you see James a lot bigger than Rob, and Rob has problems not problems, but it's not easy to get down to 84.9. How did you manage that one?
Had Dean Ammersinger. He had a lot of experience with athletes to drop weight. So he come over, he helped me with that. And plus, given that target too, I knew that I was pretty disciplined to get that the weight down. I knew I was going to get to that weight. It was kind of tough at the time too. All these pressures and hurdles, a lot of stress coming on board, and I was eating fuck all, but then few days after of a clean diet, I'll go to the bakery and have pig out on pies and all the good stuff in New Zealand. And then
Was that after the fight?
no, that was before, so I was leading up to the fight. It's funny, the Dean Ambersinger, the guy that he come in the week before to prep all my meals and everything and make sure that I was on track. So he's around me 24/7, right? So he's he put me on the scales every morning. All right, 90 kilos. Next day, 89.5, and so on. So I'm slowly dropping down, and then another morning I'll jump on the scales, and next minute I'll be up like a kilo.
I don't know how.
What's going on? I'll go, don't know.
I remember you.
I'll make it though. I'll make
I
it.
remember you ducking out to go to the bakery on the weekends. Like I remember, I thought, what the hell is this guy doing?
That was stress, bro. That was stress.
But people will and then get that. They don't get, like, also if you cut weight, you might never want to eat Maccas. Say you never eat Maccas. But when you're cutting weight and you drive through past Maccas or you walk through a food court and you go like that, all of a sudden you want to eat like Maccas or Krispy Kremes, shit that you would never eat.
I'm gonna go out on
just a cutting weight, just so you can't have it.
I'm going to go out on a leg and says that James wants to eat bakery most of the time.
Yeah.
No, but that's bakery. But I'm saying about anything.
Yeah. Mine's Chinese food. I don't know why, but when I'm
I
cutting weight...
wouldn't say yours is limited to Chinese food.
No, it is.
Let's-
No, but when I'm cutting weight, like the last 3 weeks of the cut, there is nothing more I want in the world than Chinese food.
Chinese food.
I don't know why. I don't eat it outside of fighting, but yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Like, as well as like how that weight cut is, like, it was hard, but it was also the first time you've had to actually cut weight seriously.
Yeah. Yep. But I've always been like a light, kind of small light heavyweight as well.
Yeah, you kind of just you never really cut. You just kind of walked into it, eh?
Yeah.
You fought Hector at a catch weight of 88 kilos.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was a big learning lesson. It kicked my ass in that fight. I took that fight on like 4 days' notice or something, and thought, oh yeah, my ego's through the roof at the time. I was on a bit of a win streak, and for 88 kilos, yeah, I can make that. All good. Southpaw, it's alright. Might be my first southpaw. Won't be, too hard to adapt to. I quickly found out on the Friday within the first 5 seconds, like, oh, okay, so that's what I
You didn't know who he was?
Yeah, like I knew who he was. He fought overseas and stuff, but I just didn't really, study him, or just my ego was pretty big at the time.
A lot of firsts in that fight, eh?
Yeah, he took me to school that fight. He was my teacher.
He's explosive dude, eh?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And he hits like a truck.
Yeah. You don't want that fighter, man. You got to train to fight him, man. You can't just.
Nah, you need a
Because he generates so much power in like those little like.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've noticed, like, no matter what weight division he's in, he hits like a truck.
Mm.
Like
He hits harder, dude. If he fought a heavyweight,
and you see all the dudes that all the guys that have been real successful have been like pick him apart, slow him down, stay on the outside until he starts to slow, until he doesn't have that explosive pop anymore. But
you got to get through that because most of the people wear it in the first.
Yeah, you got to survive.
When we saw him fight like Neil Magny, and I was like this far away from it, like I was in, like we were ringside, and he fought Neil Magny, and I was thinking like, am I going to get fucking charged if I witness this? Like,
and don't report it.
Yeah, if I don't report this, am I an accomplice? Because he was hitting him. Credit to Hector for getting off like that, and credit to Neil Magny for surviving that. Because man, he was hitting him like it was I thought he was going to kill him.
Hector put everything he had into that little explosive bout of like 3. It was like a 3-minute free for all.
But man, they almost stopped that fight. They almost, like when we were close, they almost stopped it. So fuck.
I'm just like I'm flabbergasted at what that was, because like everyone knows what it's like to sprint. Okay, you sprint, you give it all, but at the end you can still breathe. There's a certain level of giving everything you have that at the end of it you don't know if you're going to die or not. Like you can't breathe anymore. And Hector got to that level because for the next 2 rounds he laid on his back just taking deep breaths while Neil Magny was hitting him.
Man, and he was fucking tough, man.
Where is he now, Hector?
I think he's still fighting, isn't he?
He is. I think he lives in the States.
He lives in Miami, but I mean, I think he's an American top team in that. And I think he's fighting at 185.
He just got a
No, he just lost to
that TK that DQ.
Lionheart. No, he lost that Lionheart dude. Before that Lionheart dude went up to light heavyweight. You know the guy that just knocked out Rashad?
Yeah, wasn't it a DQ? Was that the fight before? The one where he hit him after the bell, and then the guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that was before that. That was before that.
Okay.
Fuck, who was it that he hit after the bell?
Yeah, he caught the leg and then went pop
CB Dollaway.
after the bell.
He hit CB Dollaway.
He got DQ'd.
Yeah.
So that was the fight before, was it?
I'm pretty sure there was a fight before, and then he lost that fight against that. I cannot think of the guy's name, and I don't want to keep saying that word. Lionheart. But fuck, what's his name? Anyways, he's gone up to light heavyweight, and he just beat Rashad Evans. Who? What do you think of this fight with Tavares and Adesanya this weekend?
Yeah.
Have you dealt with Adesanya at all? Have you sparred with him?
No. Just watched them a few times in New Zealand compete.
Back in the day?
Oh, this would have been like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. When he was in the kickboxing circuit. Just exciting, from what I saw. Real trickster, fight on the bluff. Good with his entertainment.
He likes hyping it up, eh?
Yeah. Just brings the whole package. He's an entertainer, yeah.
And Tavares?
I don't know. I haven't watched too much of him lately, eh?
His last fight was really, really good. Really good. I think stylistically this is going to be a very interesting fight to see. I think Adesanya will have the advantage in the stand-up department. That's not saying Tavares doesn't have any hands, but I think Adesanya is more comfortable in the kickboxing realm. But I think Tavares brings like that cage pressure, the pushing him up against the cage, the takedowns, and I think if he can get his game plan to push him up and control the fight and take the fight to that kind of grindy takedown wrestle grind, then maybe Tavares takes it. But that's he's got to close that gap where Adesanya is so dangerous, which is that striking realm, that kick and punch.
What do you think, Eloy?
I don't know. I like Tavares. I've always enjoyed him. I don't know. I think he's got a bit of power in that too. But like Rob said, I think he's got to use that whole mixed martial arts, not just stand there and try to go balls to the wall with him. That sort of Islander style or Hawaiian style that they like as well. Prove who's more macho. I think he's got to be smart about the fight.
Tavares is a really well-rounded fighter. He's striking, grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, like all of that is quite they're all
good level,
yeah, they're all real high level, and he's fought some real high caliber dudes. Like he's fought like the top tier athletes, so he's got experience under his belt with that high end competition as well.
Is it easy but to get caught up in that what I said, that back and forth just then? Like if someone wants to stand there with you, the game plan you can beat them, whether it's holding them up against the cage or wrestling them or something. But is it sometimes does your ego get the best of you and you think, fuck it, I'm going to stand here and just turn the fans on with him?
I'll let you answer this, James.
Yeah, James.
What's that?
Yeah. Have you been in that situation where you've got a game plan? You're fighting someone who might be able to out wrestle or something like that, but it stays on the feet because your egos sort of kick in and you go, fuck, we're just going to turn the fans on and see who drops first.
Oh yeah, no, not really. For me, it hasn't been my ego, but I've been in that situation. It's been I guess just so angry and just up for the challenge,
Yeah.
Who was that with?
This person's been, I don't know. I'm just thinking back of the times where I've been, put on the back foot and been copped a punch or two, and just thought, you fucking, you bastard,
yeah.
I'm gonna get you.
Well, it's funny, but it's like you're that kind of fits into your game plan real well. But it's like when the fight starts to get messy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're real good at putting your chin down and getting in the pocket and fighting there.
Oh man, I was real good at using my big sword and swinging for the fences, man. So to be a good fighter, you've got to have a sword and have your shield. I don't have a shield, but just a sword. But the sword was fucking one big fucking sword. I just swing the fuck out of it.
Like,
Go.
in my opinion, like I don't know if I'm ever in a position where a guy looks at me and goes like this, you know, like the standard trade, I'm gonna try and shoot on him straight away. I'll go, yeah. I'll just shoot straight away, low single.
Just hold him down. Just hold that.
100%, because like.
Make sure he plants his feet up before you shoot the double.
100%. I'll plant my feet. I'll go, yeah, and then I'll just drop and shoot. And but yeah, that's what I would do though, because I don't know. It's like I'm not here to play games.
You're there to win a fight.
Yeah,
you're not there
like, and also I like being cheeky like that. I like being. I don't know. I just find that much more fun than anything else.
The thing with that is as well. I think Adesanya is very, very, very experienced. Like he's had a lot of MMA fights. He's very experienced as well in combat in general. And I don't even know necessarily. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm not saying that Tavares may not be able to just overwhelm him like that. You know, like he's very weathered. He's had a lot of experience for a lot of fights. He's had something like 50 something kickboxing fights. Adesanya has. He's only lost a handful of them, and I don't know, he's had fucking more fights than I've had arguments with people, you know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to see it. I really want to see that fight. I think it's going to be a real interesting fight. If you had to pick, James, who would you pick?
Probably Israel, because I've watched them a fair bit more. Yeah.
And if you had to pick, Rob? Or would you just go like what your thing was, straight down the middle kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm always kind of straight down the middle, unless I train with you, or unless you're like I don't know. I'm kind of straight down the middle for this one, because I see both fighters can walk away with this win if they push the fight in the direction they need to. Like I don't think Tavares beats Adesanya standing up, but I do see him beating him in the wrestle world. But then you got to take the fight there. It's hard. So I'm going to go straight down the middle.
And you said, Elo, who?
I'll just be taking a shot in the dark. I'll go Tavares.
All right, awesome. James, what stuff are you doing now? Like, what are you doing? What's your transition been like? So what's happening with you after your fighting career? Like, what are you doing for work? What are you doing?
Man, I mentor kids or youth at risk a couple of days a week, and I work with a footy club doing their contact wrestling. Been pretty fortunate to do two things that I love doing, which is still being involved in sport and looking after kids and mentoring them, guiding them in the right direction.
Can you explain to us the concept of mentoring youth at risk, what that entails, or what is youth at risk, like, et cetera, et cetera?
So these kids that I work with, kids that have had a rough upbringing and just need a little bit of guidance, and they help them along their path, on their journey, and being able to help them, manage emotions, good emotions, positive emotions and negative emotions, and just to make sure everything's all cool, all good. Yeah.
What's the football stuff like? What are you doing there? What football team, etc.?
So I work with Rugby League, and it's the club is St. George Dragons. I do their contact, their wrestling, or help out their tackle in the ruck. Been pretty fortunate to get the contract for that. Awesome bunch of guys, man, and the staff, the coaching staff are really good dudes. I mean, everyone's on the same page, everyone talks, everyone communicates, no conflict. As soon as I rock up to the club, everyone comes up and says hello, greets you, have a conversation, and then we get to work. It's just a really good environment to be in. I'll always look forward to driving down to Wollongong, which is like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours drive.
It's amazing when you deal with people and they run things professionally and it just like runs smoothly. Like for me, sometimes working in certain environments and everything works when it has to, and Rob knows me quite well, Eli does as well, like when people don't, like, and I think like you're meant to do your fucking job, why aren't you doing it? Why are you fucking with my OCD? And it's funny when you see that and you go to a football team and you just watch it go pop, 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 and then they're doing well. Then you go sometimes to other teams because through the TAFE environment, not necessarily just rugby league, but other sports as well. I'm not going to throw it. Then you watch them and it just goes like it's in fucking shambles.
Yeah.
And then you look, they might be doing okay that year in the ladder because maybe they just got a stacked side, but then you watch them over the next couple of years and you can almost say like this team is not going to fucking win. And I think it's even more prevalent with an individual sport. If like there's problems within your team, there's only, because with the individual sport there's only one outlet, and it's you.
Yeah.
Have you, with that team management, what experiences and what advice have you got for younger guys? Or what experiences have you had from that team management perspective in your own fighting career?
Just having that trust, man. Making sure that everyone's there's belief in the system that it's going to work. Trusting each other, communicating with each other. That's a big one, communication, I think.
Have you had situations where people are at odds with each other? Don't have to name people or whatever.
Yeah, lots of times.
That much?
Yeah. There's been a fair few. But it's important that you get that resolved by communicating and
how much does it impact you as a fighter, as an athlete?
Oh yeah, big time, because I just go back to my being alone sort of thing, that's the way it makes me feel, If there's conflict in the team, I'm like, fucking, I'll just, I feel like I'm alone. I've got this by myself. I mean, a lot of the work is by myself, but you need your team, 100% behind you. You got to trust in your team. Everyone's got to have trust with each other. Yeah, but as soon as there's conflict, man, it does affect you.
How hard is it for you and Tama to work together, not necessarily from a communication perspective, Tama being your brother, for people who don't know, but is it hard for him to watch you fight and or / lose, or is it hard for you guys to communicate? Are you too close to communicate? What's that relationship like?
When one of us take a loss or something, or
when you're fighting and
yeah, it's definitely hard. I mean, he's my brother, Emotions are strong with me, and with him as well. So when I cop a loss, man, it hurts him, and I got to see that, and it just hurts me even more. That's what I was talking about before. Same as him too. When he was competing, when he was kickboxing, when he got hurt, it's the same thing as me too, man. I just got hurt to the max. So
how is he? How does he react to people when it goes even past trolling? Like, say, because am I correct in this as well? When you lost in New Zealand, was it in New Zealand? Did somebody abuse you?
Oh yeah, so I lost that fight and I was gutted and walked outside the cage and walking alongside all the fans and that. They're like, there's a lot of fans that are saying, "Oh, come on, bro, keep your head up, get your head up, bro, get your head up, stand strong." Just giving me heaps of support, And walking past all the fans, and then walking to the tunnel where the seating goes over the tunnel, and there's a couple of fans. There's a row of fans up above the tunnel. So I'm walking through that tunnel underneath the fans, and there's one voice that fucking stands out, and it shouts out, "You're fucking useless, Te Huna." And I'm down on the ground, and it just felt like I just got kicked in the guts, and I looked straight up. And I just see a row of 10 people. I don't know who it was. I just lost my shit. I won't say what I said, but I lost it. And then Tama didn't know, my brother didn't know what went on. So he saw me lose it, and then he's lost it as well. He's grabbed the bucket and threw it at the row of 10 people. The bouncers went to grab me, and I'm wrestling the bouncers, and Sully, one of the other cornermen, he's went to grab me, and I'm wrestling him and just trying to figure out or call out who this guy was, you know. This guy didn't own up, man. He was Gonski, eh?
Oh, really? He didn't own up?
Man.
Fuck, well, I wouldn't have pictured that from such a brave fucking soul.
Oh, I'm so angry. He got me that one. That guy definitely got me, eh?
How hard would that be for your brother to experience that? Do you think it would be harder for him in a way?
Yeah, man, because he saw me how hurt I was, you know, and prior to that fight, the lead up for it, you know, saw what was going on, then had that result, and just, you know, we're down on the ground, and then just here comes someone.
The fuck is wrong with people?
Boots kicking the guts.
What the fuck's wrong with people, eh?
Yeah.
It's just fuck.
Like there already isn't a worse feeling than losing, especially like when it's your livelihood. You know what I mean? Like there already that feeling of losing in front of your home country, hometown, people, family, and it's also your wage earner. Like that's how you make money. To lose is the worst feeling in the world, and for someone to do that, like you deserve to be fucking
Shot.
Yeah, like burnt at the stake. You know what I mean? Like you're a piece of shit.
On livelihood and whatnot, I remember as well, you used to have a reoccurring shoulder injury. Correct me if I'm wrong, you also have is it called a tamoko that's on your arm?
Yep.
And it's that arm.
Yep.
And you would have that reoccurring shoulder dislocation occur early in your career. And then you had a shoulder surgery done to it.
Yep.
I'm assuming that you weren't on a great deal of money back then with your fights. What was that like, balancing the little... I'm assuming you're getting a little money. You might shock me and say, no, at the local shows, Phobe, I was getting $300,000-$400,000 a fight, plus ticket money. But how was that balancing that? Because you would have had to pay for the surgery, or sponsors would have had to pay.
Yep.
So you got the surgery, you got the rehab process.
Yep.
You've got whatever you're earning at that junction in your life. How hard is that? Because people don't know about this stuff. They just think you guys are...
It's hard, man. It was just, you know, sacrificing everything. Like, you know, I was fortunate enough to have a sponsor to pay for my surgery, and then I got my shoulder fixed up. I was a bricklayer at the time, so I couldn't work. And I had to, what did I do? Oh, he sponsored me a bit more to be able to get myself back on my feet. After like 5 or 6 weeks, I think I started getting back on the tools again and started working, because I had to get some type of income.
6 weeks post shoulder surgery, you were laying brick for your rehab.
Yeah. Wasn't much.
There you go.
There wasn't much bricks going in, but
but you were there.
I was there. But yeah, man, it was, you know, times are tough, but I made that sacrifice, and I just had that goal, man. I was going to reach it, get myself a lot better sooner. Got back on the road pretty fast. Had to. Yeah, it was just something that I had to do. Yeah.
How do you deal? How did you deal when you had like reoccurring shoulder dislocations in a fight? Because that had just come out, eh?
Yeah.
How'd you deal with the possible risk of, like, say, injury leading into the future, or disability? Did you think about that? Like, was there things that went through your head?
Oh, in the future, like, yeah, after fighting?
Yeah.
Nah, not really, man. I always thought about that. You know, people did ask me, oh, you're going to have problems later on. I'm like, I don't know. I've always got in my mind that, no, I'm not going to, you know, just the way that I think. I don't think I'm going to have problems later on. I think I'm just, yeah, the way my mindset is, eh?
Yeah, got to do
people
this
think that
now.
I have arthritis in my knuckles and my hands and that. I don't think like that, eh? Yeah, no, I'm just, you know, I'm pretty healthy now. I'm very healthy, actually. I'm there, probably in a good stage of my life right now. My body's good. I'm feeling balanced. I feel strong. I feel, you know, at peace. I feel good.
Did you suffer a lot of concussions in training?
Yeah, I did.
A lot?
Yep.
More than what now you think people do?
Yeah, so the times that I were rocked, I count them as concussions.
So do I.
But before it wasn't. It was a concussion to me was lights out and waking up like 30 seconds later or whatever on the ground. But so when I was seeing that neurologist, when I got hurt that time that made me retire, he asked me how many concussions I've had, and I said, well, I've only had 2 or maybe 3 before fighting. And he goes, okay, well, what about concussions in training? How many times have you been rocked? And I said, well, fucking lots. And he goes, all those are concussions. He goes, can you give me a number? And I said, well, I've had 2 in competition. Fucking probably had, I don't know, say over 50 in training. He goes, all right, well, you gotta, those aren't too good. They all add up. Just depends on the person too. Like some people can take a knock better than others. Some people can recover better than others too. So,
were you sparring a lot and very hard?
Yep, I was sparring a lot and sparring hard.
How often would you spar hard?
2 or maybe 3 times a week, leading up to fights. Sometimes I get rocked in a few times in a session, and then just I'll spar 2 days later or 3 days later or whatever. Just continue on and shrug it off like nothing happened. Just get on with it. That was my mindset at the time.
How bad were you like at that junction? Were you like getting hit at training and like maybe kind of forgetting where you were sometimes or not? Was it affecting you to that extent?
Yeah, man. I went out to Bulldog Gym. I was sparring with Stuart McKinnon, kickboxer, and I remember waking up. I remember hearing the buzzer go off, and then I'm walking back to the seat to recover, and I've just come to. Just felt like I've just woken up, and I sat down, and I started looking around the place. What the fuck am I doing here? And my brother Tamo was there, and I asked him. I said, "Fuck, did I get rocked or something?" Because I don't remember getting here. I don't remember nothing. It just feels like I've just woken up out of bed. And he goes, "Yeah, well, you got rocked a couple of rounds ago by Stu. You got you over head kick, but you kind of stumbled a bit and you carried on." I was like, "Fuck, how long have I been here for?" It was like 50 minutes. I was like, "Oh man, that was pretty scary, not knowing nothing,
That's a huge concussion.
Oh yeah.
And so you suffered around maybe at different degrees of severity, but you suffered maybe 50 of those.
Yeah. Yep.
In training.
Yeah, easy.
And I'd imagine that's quite prevalent with other fighters. Like I know that a lot of people spar very, very hard, and that they spar regularly. And I've seen footage of people sparring. And was that something you would change if you went back in your career?
Yeah, man. Definitely less of it. Protect yourself, but everyone's different, I think everyone's different, but sparring, man, you got to recognise the signs really early. Yeah, you got to be aware of what damage you can possibly take as well. I think it's really important if you've been rocked that you let someone know, let your team know that you've been rocked, and then.
But you have to have the team and the people around you that have the education to recognise what's occurring. Yeah. Because, like, say for example, it's not James, get in there, don't be a pussy, Rob, because you're obviously not pussies. You obviously fight for a living, so you don't have to get any tougher.
Yeah.
Like, you're already pretty tough. So I think you have to have the people that can recognise that brain injury is real.
Yeah.
Because I've had conversations with people and they're like, nah, mate, it's all bullshit, mate. You just, like I got hit in the head 30 times and nothing's ever happened to me. And I'm like, I doubt that's fucking true because you're not as normal as you think you are, but all right. But even if it was him, it's exactly what you said. Some people can take the shots.
Yeah.
And some people, not even can take the shots. Everyone's got a limit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can obviously take a shot, but I think your magic number's 50. My magic number's 1. that's the thing. I've never had to deal with that because as soon as I get hit, I'm like, yeah, that's not for me, mate. I'm gonna fucking go play backgammon or something. but it's and then there's also, I think, growing up just as a boy and notwithstanding the other information that you spoke about, but it's football games you have like in the front yard with your brother, like that you take, or with your friends or with your cousins, you take a big shot, like you get a headache, and you grow up, they all accumulate too. If you, all of it, it doesn't like discriminate. The knock in the head is a knock in the head, and I think there was studies done with soccer players that play certain positions that take, like they headbutt the ball over and over and over, and they headbutt it at training, and they headbutt it like, because they would take, it's not, when they're playing the game, that's not the first time they headbutted that ball. They must have headbutted that ball maybe 200 times throughout the week.
Yeah.
Every week since they're 7 years old. And they found that some of them have had that, like almost to the level of an amateur boxer. I don't want to butcher the stats, but it was something like that I read.
Yeah.
With the neurologist spoke to you about all those shots were in fact concussions?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Like, what I mean, all the shots, all the
all
times.
The shots that
yeah,
sort of wobbled,
Yep. Yeah, they're all concussions, man. They're all add up. You can't ignore them.
Did you think though, when you stepped into Narnia after Stu kicked you in the head, did you think this is not good? Because at the time you didn't have, he hadn't gone to the neurologist yet.
Yeah.
But did you not think fuck?
No, I just thought, okay, 1 or 2 days I'll get over it and sweet, we'll be back on the horse again, 1 or 2 days, sweet.
Did you continue sparring?
Wait.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that wasn't. Did you continue sparring after you went back to the stool? Yeah, after you sat down, you asked Tama, where are we?
No, I pulled the pin straight away, man. Fuck. Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna go into it again. That was pretty scary for me, so I just stopped right there.
Yeah, to your defense though, Stu's very good at head kicking.
Oh yeah, he's good tricks it. So are you?
Not as good as him.
How have you had any other episodes like that was similar to that, where you got rocked in training or you got hit hard in training?
No, there was something that really stood out, that one. Yeah. But all the other ones have been, rocked, you wobble, you're still with it, but you're trying to regain your balance and get your eyes straight and your head straight and carry on with it.
That's an interesting thing, I think, for the young fighters that are coming up and for coaches that are working with fighters and football players. I think football is fucking bad, man. I've worked with not necessarily, I've worked with a lot of different football teams and that, and I see some of the shots they take even at training when they do contact training.
Yep.
And I think, are we just ignoring this? I had to hold the crash thing for someone because there was an odd number. It doesn't matter the team, but they said, can you hold it? And I saw, and I was looking at, I know what I look like. I'm not one of those people that thinks it delusional that I'm bigger than what I am. And I was looking at, and I just went straight to the guy and I said, listen, he plays first grade, this guy.
Yeah, I know the team too, and they got very good big forwards. So these guys
Mate,
are monsters.
I just said, listen, I go, don't hit the pad hard, please. I go, sorry. I go, I can not hold it for you, or I can hold it for you and you hit me gentle. Because you're going to give me fucking brain damage. And that's very simple. And I was watching the shots that they're taking bang, and their heads are going boom like this, and I'm looking at them going
yeah, man, they're collision. They're the best of the world at collision.
100%.
No doubt about it, eh?
No.
Man.
But they're shots to the head, whether you know what I mean, people get it or not. It's shots to the head, and what you're saying with the neurologist, all of those shots, or when I see in junior football, kids get kicked out, and I'm looking at it, and they give them water. Fucking put him back on there, and I think
magic bucket, wasn't it? There used to be a magic bucket with a sponge in it.
Yeah, man,
and that magic sponge, and then good again.
Yeah,
kids love it. Yeah.
How prevalent do you? Because you've boxed, Eli boxed and played football, high level football as well. How prevalent is that, the head trauma and that? I guess now we're starting to be more aware of it.
Yeah.
But you would have come up as well in an era where that wasn't as big of a deal.
It was funny that James was just saying before about all them times you get rocked. They're actually concussions. Why? Do you know what I mean? When you're growing up, I grew up in Ballina and we had a small little boxing gym, and same thing. We used to just get in there with our mates to start with and just turn the fans on. Do you know what I mean? Just go at each other, just trying to knock each other out every time we sparred. And we used to get there and hate skipping, hate doing bag work. Do you know what I mean? When can we spar? When we can spar? Do you know what I mean? And then our coach used to let us spar all the time. And the same thing. I guess I've never really thought about it too much, probably until just the last couple of years when it comes up a lot more in conversation. And then football, the same thing. I've been proper out of it on the footy field and stuff like that. And you know what I mean?
Did they take you? Did they take you off, or did they leave you on? And
I've been left on plenty of times.
And did you get through the game like not remembering the whole game? Did that ever happen?
Only once I remember in Ballina. No, I got taken off that time. But all the other ones I remember, they were just like you said, just getting rocked. Like you go like that, you sort of, and then you're back with it, no problem. So you continue on.
I think a big problem with that though is the culture behind the collisions.
100%.
Because
That's
correct me if I'm wrong, but you would have been like, nah, I'm fine. Fine. Nah, I'm fine.
Oh, you'd be the biggest pussy. Imagine you took a big hit up in football and then you went, listen, I think I got a mild concussion. There was a bit of a head trauma.
Got a bit of a headache, coach. I need to sit down and have some oranges or something.
I'll be back next week, guys.
But
I did 60 days medical suspension. That was the first hit up of the game, but my head did rattle.
No, 100%. So like, and all the guys, like, you're not going to say that. So all the guys are just going, like, they're just being flattened and they're out. As soon as you get up and you're with it, you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, coach. I'm good. Leave me here. And you just keep going, like, because that's the culture behind the sport and the contact. And it's like, yeah, for you to say, nah, my head's a bit sore, I'm going to sit the rest of this one out. Like, you will not play next week.
Do you know who Luke O'Donnell is?
Yep. He come and trained with me for a few months, a couple of months.
I played football against him when we were in high school, and he was like how he is now when we were in school.
He's fucking hard out.
Dude, and I was like maybe 70 kilos, like maybe. And that would have been jacked. I would have been like, to me, in the mirror at home when I was there, I would have been like, I'm a monster. And I remember watching, he was playing, the score was like maybe 400-0 or some shit, I don't know. But I remember watching him, like, that he was going to get the ball, and I knew he was going to get the ball. I don't know why I did this. And I ran, and he ran, and he got the ball, and I went to tackle him. And I did tackle him, but it was more like he tripped over me. But he hit me so fucking hard, dude, that like he doesn't even know who I am. I remember him for the rest of my fucking life. And I felt like crying and shitting myself at the same time. And I was fucking thinking like, this game's not for me, man. Like I'm not made for this. It was so bad.
Man, I've actually thought about playing,
Now?
Well, at the start of the season, the start of the year, because I got involved in, being a contact coach and working with footy players. I thought, okay, I'll try and further my knowledge and, get the feel for the game. And I thought, nah, fuck that. If I come up to my first tackle, two things are going to happen. They're going to get iced, I'm going to tackle them or bunt them off, or I'm going to get iced. I think, I would have been the first person on the bad end of a tackle.
My old man went up the park on the weekend and watched the over 35s play.
Your dad, and Big Jack.
Yeah, and
bring me back.
I almost know this with absolute certainty that I'm going to be playing when I'm over 35.
You reckon?
150%. I missed the game too much not to.
Have you seen how them old guys play? Over 35s, there's a system where you wear different coloured shorts.
They have
depending on the contact and that.
Go tell the story.
So if you're from 35, I think, to 40, you wear normal shorts. Or maybe it's to 45 and you're allowed a full contact and everything like that. As you get older, you wear different coloured shorts, depending on the league and stuff like that. But one of the guys they have it up home, golden oldies and that they'll call it.
Alex Prates, this is for you, Alex.
Yeah, they have guys who are still 70 and they wear red shorts. You're not allowed to tackle them. They'll either have Oz tags or they're just tap. But do you know what I mean? And there's all different rules for depending on what shorts you wear. So you can wear green shorts or, do you know what I mean? I don't know exactly which shorts you wear for the age. But I was talking to someone the other day and he was saying he plays in it, and sometimes you get these old 60-year-olds that are still old hardheads. They're out there in their red shorts, but then when you carry it up, they go in there swinging arms trying to reliving the old days, do you know what I mean? So
fucking Lee, the guy, shout out to Lee Evans that trains with us. He's like 48 or something. He plays rugby union like full hard out.
Yeah, this wasn't
blue belt, crazy guy.
What you're describing wasn't what
good guy.
Wasn't what my dad was watching on the weekend. This was just playing park football every single weekend. but then the difference was like nobody wanted to go on after they went off. And like it was very slow paced. But I almost know with certainty that I'll be playing over 35s football. Like I just want
Your
to.
dad also put on that. I remember the game because he put a status on. What do you call it when you put something on Facebook?
Status.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said that you wouldn't be able to play because you can barely get 25 minutes out of you, let alone 80.
Oh wow! Did he really say that?
He did. That's
Asshole.
Did you? So, but you played rugby, eh?
Yeah, like grew up in New Zealand, born and bred in New Zealand. So everyone, it's the this religion over there. Everyone plays rugby.
Where do you play?
In the North Island and the South Island. So North Island near Hamilton,
Yep.
little place called Te Huna, and near Queenstown in the South Island, place called Alexandra, Otago. Yeah.
I have a question for you because Eli's been trying to track this person down. We're not sure if it is you or not. Did you, in what year would it have been, Eli? In the late 90s, chop down a fucking
That
pole?
would have been 2000 in Rotorua. It was.
Did you chop down
Rotorua.
a goalpost with a chainsaw?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't me.
Tell the story. So
No, so we went over for New South Wales country and we were doing a rep tour of the North Island. We went to Rotorua first and we were meant to play on the field 1, but the goalpost was all hacked up and bent over and stuff like that. And they said, we asked what happened there and that. And they said one of the parents got so angry at the game, he walked home, got his chainsaw and came back and went at the goalpost.
Oh, wow.
Because we were talking about how hard it is being a ref, and I was just explaining how much they love rugby over there. Like
Yeah. Ooh.
you know how angry you have to be to walk all the way home?
All the way back.
Yeah, walking back was the hard part.
100%. I'll go home angry, but by the time I go home, I'll be like,
Fuck, I can't be bothered walking back.
Or, you know what? When we were talking about the contacts and how ridiculous sometimes the sport is, I remember playing, and it was the first hit up. It was like semi-finals or something. It was the first hit up of the day. It was in the under 20s, and it was off the kickoff, and like the guy got it, and he passed it to the forward, the prop out the back, and he went for the massive hit up. It was like a 40-meter hit up, and the first hit up was like seeing two cars like just collide. It was just like boom, and one went flying this way, one went flying that way, and our player wasn't moving anymore. And they stretched him off, and 60 minutes later he comes back.
Nah, they put him back on.
He comes back on.
That's good practice.
With bandages and tape all around his face. Because apparently, like in the collision, their heads collided, and he got like a gash all the way down his head. So they just taped his head up, let him get over the concussion, and then he's back on taking hit ups again. And like just thinking about it nowadays of what we know and the sport we're in, I'm just thinking like, wow.
The one that I said about my concussion, I got a split there when I did it. I played rugby union on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday I went and played rugby league after the concussion. And I had it wrapped up and that, had a headgear on.
Headgear will do it. Headgear will look after it.
You get knocked out for a bit, you're wearing headgear for 2 weeks afterwards.
The problem was we played at Evans Head, and they used to water the fields with bore water, so it got infected, and I had like a staph infection from it. Put me up for a couple of weeks. So.
Fuck me dead.
Concussions.
The good old days. The good old days too, because they wouldn't.
I would have been soft if I didn't play on the Sunday.
No, you would have been a dead set pussy.
You guys
man.
ever play on the fields that like it was like fresh after summer, and like the cricket pitch
I was about to say the cricket pitch.
was just like, and there were some fields that were so crap, like they just like throw a little bit of dirt on it, but it was like still there.
Yeah.
And I remember going for a run, like making a break, and then the fullback got me around the legs, and I hit the pitch and slid for about 10 meters, and I had like road rash from my foot to my chest, and it was like bad gravel rashes, astroturf burns in it, like little gravel in there. It was like the worst. I just remember like every weekend it was a different pitch with different. It was just crap.
Where would you have played, James, if you were going to play?
Yeah, on my teens I was in the deep south, so I used to get up to like I grew up in the Southern Alps in the middle, Alexandra, Otago, and it got pretty cold, bro. Like got down to like -5, -10, -12 degrees, and like we'll be 13, 14 years old. We'll play like 10, 11 o'clock.
Did you say -12?
Yeah.
Not fucking coming out of the house, but go on.
Yeah, same thing, man. Like we have our boots on, and just the sprigs wouldn't go into the ground, or just the ground just felt like concrete, you know. Oh. And you get past the ball, and you get the ball, and you palm it off to someone else. No one wants to hold the ball. No one wants to run the ball, No one wants to get tackled.
Fuck.
Fucking freezing.
How'd you end up there? How'd your family end up in?
So I grew up in Te Huna in the North Island, and then moved down to the south. Just my father was, I don't know, just a change of scenery, I guess, like bounce around, you know. So we ended up in the South Island, next to his sister's place in the same town. Yeah.
Did you live in so was it a rural community?
Yep.
So it's very quiet?
Yeah.
So what was the trajectory for you from there to Sydney? Because did you, like being from a small town, did you get up into trouble in that? Did you?
Nah, man, it was always, always behaved. I never misbehaved, just scared that I'll,
Yeah.
Get it. So you always behaved, man. That town that was in the Southern Alps, man, there was a lot to do there. There was a lot of country, hunting, just a lot for us to do. There was a boxing gym there, so that's where I started my martial arts, my training. So I've done a lot of that to keep myself busy. But making the change from Alexandria, that probably had a population of 5,000 people at the time, to Penrith back in 98, 99.
How and why? Did your brother play football? Did he come here to play football?
So Tama came here first, and then because we're a tight family, Mum, Dad, and myself moved over a year later to Sydney.
Okay.
Just, new experience.
He was playing football here, bud? Is that why he moved?
He just wanted, he was 19 at the time, and, a lot of Kiwis come over when they're young, and a lot of opportunities over here. Yeah.
Was it a big shock for you coming over from New Zealand?
Man, not really, because I was with Mum and Dad and my brother, so, I was willing to adapt, and plus we'd moved around to a few places throughout New Zealand as well, so it wasn't really something new to me.
Did you like the city? Did you like the fact that it was busy and whatnot?
Yeah, it didn't really bother me. No, it didn't bother me. I just adapt, just adapt, and yeah.
Are you into muscle cars?
Yeah, I am.
There's a lot of money. I don't know anything about cars. There's a lot of money going to the muscle cars.
Yep. You got a real passion for it. And I had a passion for muscle cars for so many years, and now I've lost that passion, so I've moved on to something else.
Oh, you don't have it no more?
No.
Can you take us through like that? Like how much? Like what kind of car was it?
So I had XYGT replica of that F100 of it. Like big fan of 1970s muscle cars. I guess from my upbringing, like brought up in the 80s. My old man had like 70s cars. He used to cruise around in, and the guy that my old boss that I used to work for when I first came to Australia, he had old muscle cars too. So just been around that scene and got into it, sort of thing, Had a passion for it at the time.
What's taken its place?
I guess coaching, man. I love coaching, Yeah, I love passing on knowledge, man. Because when I was after that knowledge, it was always a little bit tough for me to find out. I was always willing to learn. So now I'm that person I'm a student as well. I'm always learning new things and passing it on. So yeah, to pass on knowledge, man, is great.
All right. Any questions for James at all? No. Can you tell us a little bit then what you got going on now into just wrapping this up now? Like what things have you got coming up, or where can people find you for coaching, for anything like that you do like?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, man. I'll close my Facebook account, Instagram, LinkedIn. I do. We've got a couple of speaking gigs coming up too. I've spoken a couple of times in juvenile centres here. Sharing my story and overcoming pain and suffering. And I'm currently having someone help me with that, for that process, to structure it properly put into structure and framework around it, and make the progression to those more speaking engagements, so I can get better at it.
Okay, excellent. Well, James, thank you very much for coming out, and I know you're very busy, and thank you for coming here.
Thanks
It
for
was really
inviting
cool.
me,
you very
man.
much.
Cheers. That
That's
was
been
good.
awesome.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.